Disrespect is rarely loud in the beginning. It starts small. A dismissive tone, a joke at your expense, a delayed reply when they answer everyone else, a subtle interruption, a look that says, "You don't matter here." And most people make the same fatal mistake. They react emotionally, over-explain, argue, or pretend they didn't notice. But the moment you handle disrespect the wrong way, you teach people exactly how far they can push you next time. That's the brutal truth. Disrespect is never just about one moment. It's a test, a psychological probe, a silent measurement of your standards, your self-control, and your value in the social hierarchy. So, if someone disrespects you, what should you do immediately? Not tomorrow, not after overthinking all night. Immediately, because the first move decides whether they regret it or repeat it. The first thing you do immediately is do not react on their timeline. This is where weak people lose the entire battle. Someone disrespects them, and within seconds they explode, defend themselves, explain, or start proving their worth. That emotional reaction feels strong, but psychologically, it's surrender. Why? Because now they control your nervous system. They press a button, and you move. The strongest first response is not anger. It's stillness. You pause. You look. You let the silence land. That one moment alone can completely reverse the power dynamic. Because disrespect often relies on expectation. They expect you to get emotional. They expect you to chase clarity. They expect you to panic. But when you stay calm, their certainty begins to crack. And once their certainty cracks, the real game begins. The second thing you do is make them feel the moment. Most people rush to smooth things over. Big mistake. If someone crosses a line, do not immediately rescue them from the discomfort they created. Let the room breathe. Let the silence sit. Let their own words echo back into their nervous system. This is psychological pressure without aggression. A short stare, a measured pause, a calm, low-energy response like, "Interesting," or "Noted," or even better, "Nothing at all." Weak people think respect comes from louder words. Strong people understand that tension is a weapon. When someone disrespects you and you don't rush to fill the space, they start confronting their own behavior. And people hate that. Be honest, when someone disrespects you, what's harder for you, staying calm or staying silent? Comment calm or silent below. That answer reveals more about your power than you think. The third thing you do immediately is stop rewarding access. This is where most people completely fail. Someone disrespects them, and then they keep giving the same energy, same attention, same availability, same emotional access. That tells the other person one thing: there was no real consequence. And where there is no consequence, disrespect becomes habit. The moment someone crosses a line, something must shift. Not drama, not revenge. Access. Your replies become shorter. Your energy becomes colder. Your presence becomes selective. Your availability becomes expensive. This is how strong people communicate standards without begging for respect. They don't argue for better treatment. They make poor treatment cost something. And once people feel that cost, they suddenly become more careful. That's not manipulation. That's self-respect with structure. The fourth thing you do is never explain your pain to someone who enjoyed causing it. This is one of the darkest truths in human behavior. If someone intentionally disrespected you, over-explaining how hurt you are often doesn't create empathy. It creates information they can use. Now they know what triggers you. Now they know what bothers you. Now they know where your emotional openings are. And once someone knows your pressure points, they can hit them again with more precision next time. This is why emotional intelligence without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. You don't need to submit a report on your feelings to someone who was testing your limits. You need to observe the pattern. That's what matters. Because the next step is where respect is either rebuilt or lost permanently. The fifth thing you do immediately is respond once, clearly, calmly, and without emotional leakage. If the situation requires words, use very few. No speeches, no emotional essays, no dramatic monologues, just a clean line that draws blood without making noise. Something like, "That won't happen again," or "Watch how you speak to me," or if that continues, "This ends here." Calm words hit harder because they carry consequence, not chaos. Most people think boundaries need volume. They don't. In fact, the calmer you are, the more dangerous you appear. Because now the other person realizes this isn't a random emotional outburst. This is a standard, a rule, a line. And lines backed by emotional control are what people remember. If you've ever given too many chances after disrespect, comment enough. Because that one habit alone keeps millions of people trapped in repeating the same pain. The sixth thing you do is watch what happens next, not what they say next. This is critical. After disrespect, people will often apologize just enough to keep access. They'll say, "You're overthinking it," or "I was joking," or "That's not what I meant," or the classic manipulation move, "You're too sensitive." Don't fall for words. Watch behavior. Respect is not proven in explanations. It is proven in adjustment. Do they correct themselves? Do they become more careful? Do they change tone? Do they stop crossing that line? Or do they simply repackage the same disrespect in a softer form? This is where emotionally strong people separate truth from performance. They don't listen for comfort. They look for pattern interruption. And if the pattern stays the same, the answer is already there. Some people apologize only to reset the game, not to change it. And the seventh thing, the most important thing, is be fully willing to leave. This is the move that makes all the others real. Because if you are not willing to remove your energy, your attention, your time, your presence, or your access, then every boundary you set is just theater. Human beings can sense empty threats. They can feel when you're bluffing. But when someone knows you can detach, calmly, quickly, and without begging, the entire psychological structure changes. Now your standards become believable. Now your silence becomes expensive. Now your presence gains weight. This is why some people command respect without raising their voice. Because beneath their calm is one silent message: "I do not need this enough to tolerate it." And that message is terrifying to anyone who was counting on your weakness. Respect grows where desperation dies. Here's the brutal truth. Nobody teaches. If someone disrespects you once, that moment matters. But what matters more is what you do after. If you react emotionally, over-explain, keep access open, ignore the pattern, and stay available, you train the next insult before it happens. But if you pause, create pressure, reduce access, speak clearly, observe behavior, and stay willing to walk away, you rewrite the entire dynamic. People don't just hear boundaries, they study consequences, and the people who once thought you were easy to play with suddenly start moving carefully around you. So remember this: the goal is not to win every argument. The goal is to become the kind of person people think twice before disrespecting. Calm, unpredictable, controlled, unavailable. To nonsense. That is real power. So now I want the truth. When someone disrespects you, what's your biggest weakness? Reacting emotionally? Or staying too long after they've shown you who they are? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this video sharpened something inside you, subscribe right now. Because the next video is about the silent signs someone is testing your boundaries before they betray you. And once you learn those signs, you'll start seeing danger before it ever reaches your face. Miss that one, and you'll keep thinking it was just one moment while they're already planning the next one.